I don't know if you could find one new that we could
I
call
mean,
out.
reputations are at stake, and if it
Yes.
doesn't look good, it's gonna, in years, the archivist is gonna have a really fun
True.
time with that. And I say that often.
Well, if I didn't have one that I thought was up to snuff, I'd call Scott.
Which is a problem, because if I didn't have one, I'd call you.
Well,
Subject to general demurrer.
For the last 10 minutes of our session, we're going to together draft a presentment for everybody.
That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Is there another side on this if these procedural matters have not been followed? You mentioned in that particular case with the priest that you were working with, you went through and saw that there were so many times that a Matthew 18 situation could have happened. It's almost as though you're arguing procedurally they hadn't followed what they should have done on that investigation, and therefore it should not be pursued.
Mark, that was a very, very rare case. I ended up writing a single-spaced 9-page report. There were so many things there. Some of the things that clearly stood out, certain witnesses testified that they could see something from where they were, and they couldn't, and some things like that, and the investigator just overlooked all of these things, the initial investigator. And so there was a lot more there. That's one, you know, the world would look at it that when I received it from Hugo and Scott, the world would say, well, you got dumped on. Well, angular perception is everything. I take it now, looking back, they just made a decision to utilize multiple personnel. It wasn't a dump. Nobody got it. I know everybody didn't miss that. But anyway, it was a laborious matter to go through all of these statements that have been taken. But it started clearly showing design by that particular person they had hired to start taking statements on the initial investigation. We'd had these canons for several years, but they didn't use a canonical investigator the way, I don't think anybody in this room would have sent someone out there who had been a sergeant for a police department to do that investigation. Okay. Now, the rights of the accused, we have those in two places now. They used to be over under the courts and processes and procedure down in Title IV, Canon 5, Section 7, but our due process rights are secured now, and also in Canon 4, 3.3, which Title 4, 3.3.5. Which include acknowledgement of the presumption of innocence of the accused, the right to representation by counsel, that all procedures will be consistent with the principles of fairness, due process, and natural justice, shall require expeditious handling consistent with those principles, and in particular, there will be no new rule of procedure made when the matter is pending. So we've got our presentment. Hopefully, the clergy has maybe retained counsel, or they may just feel like they're ready to go to trial. After the presentment is personally served, and it goes to your trial court, which you've already set up, and you've got people there that are competent to perform that type of a hearing, sitting on that trial court, that will occur. Our canons say not sooner than 60 days and not more than 90. I just turn it to the positive when I'm thinking about it, and I just say it's going to occur between 60 and 90 days. And you also should set up a process, procedural rules. When I did the ones for the international diocese, I took into account the Diocese of Mid-America and several others and put them together. Some are very detailed, some adopt and bootstrap in maybe your federal court rules. Some have taken some state rules. For the dioceses that have many states, I don't know what we'll do. But most of the standard rules of procedure and evidence are pretty close through most of our states now. So, but the accused would be entitled to know what's that going to be? What's that process and mode of hearing going to be, and what rules is it going to be carried out under? Generally, they all have a statement to the effect of that court has the right to make a determination on the admission of evidence, and also to rule in its discretion on most anything throughout that procedure, unless you've just completely given that process over to a particular set of state court rules or federal rules. I like the capacity, because of the nature of the charges and the nature of the outcome, for there to be discretion, a good bit of discretion in the trial court to determine what's going to come in as evidence, what will be taken or not. That's just one lawyer's view. Now, after the trial closes, and in your rules, you should also have in there who's going to pay for the court reporter, who's responsible, how is that going to happen, but you do need one. You get down to this point, and then there's a decision. Stop your bishop if he's so happy with the result for whatever reason that he wants to go ahead and write the either the dismissal or write out what the sentence is going to be, because there's 30 days to appeal. So our rules provide that there won't be any sentencing until after 30 days. Till at least 30 days have passed, don't write the sentence, because it could still be appealed. And our trial courts are appealed only to the tribunal. And the tribunal does two things. In our canons, each court, we have three courts. We have the Court of Extraordinary Jurisdiction, we have the tribunal, and we have the court. What'd you say, Phil?
A court for the trial.
Yeah. Court for the trial of a bishop. Yeah. So all we're looking for is the tribunal in our case. The jurisdiction of the other courts do not have anything to do with the trial of a presbyter or of the other appellate courts. Have anything to do with the only appellate court is the tribunal, I'm sorry. But the Court of Extraordinary Jurisdiction is the court of original jurisdiction only. So after the appeal, the tribunal will order the transcript. As soon as the transcript is received, they'll set a date for the hearing, and then the hearing will proceed, and then they're required to make their decision within 30 days. And then after that 30 days, if there's no appeal, you can go straight to the sentence. If there's an appeal, then after 30 days, you can sentence. And then under our former Title IV, Canon 10, notification goes to the Archbishop's office. Now we have a way to do that formally, of how the Archbishop's office will process that in the provincial list. And I'm not going to go into that today because it was covered well by Phil twice yesterday. Any other?
Where's the appeal to?
The appeal?
Yeah, what court handles the appeal?
From the trial court?
Yes.
The tribunal.
Okay.
The tribunal has appellate jurisdiction for appeals from trial courts in a diocese. And it has 3 areas of original jurisdiction. It has to determine matters of dispute arising from the Constitution and canons of the province, and to hear and decide disputes between dioceses, and to issue non-binding advisory opinions on issues submitted by the College of Bishops, the Provincial Council, or the Provincial Assembly. Anything else?
So Jeff, I got several questions here, but do those go to the pump or stump? Just on some of these procedures?
Why don't we move those to the pump or stump? Or as Hugo and Scott did to me. You know.
Jeff, if I could make one comment that just occurred to me. With this rule that says no new rule or procedure shall be made while a matter is pending,